Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode. This is Arin. I'm here with Kamaria. This is an episode of Interviews with Arin. And we're so happy to have Kamaria here today. So, to get us started, start us off, can you give us a couple of stats? Like who you are, where you're from, what you do?
My name is Kamaria Boston. I am a military brat, so I moved around quite a bit. Born in Cali, lived in Germany, North Carolina, and in Clarksville, Tennessee. That's kind of my home, longest place we lived. My dad retired at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, so that's where I kind of grew up. I went to Middle Tennessee State University. Go Blue Raiders. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the first and the finest. And I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. Um, I am the owner of Playdates Child Development Center, Hinesville, Georgia, as well as just out in the community doing all I can. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes, I love
Yes.
that. Okay, so you talked about you touched on how you are an entrepreneur. Playdates being one of
Mhm.
those ventures. Can you tell me a little bit about your background with entrepreneurship, like how you first decided I'm gonna go into business? What did that look like?
Well, honestly, some of my first opportunities of dealing with business came when I was a teenager. Margaret Lilly was my teen director, and at the time, the general of Fort Campbell wanted to give me and some of our friends, the teen council, I'll say, 250,000 to maybe 500,000 to renovate the old NCO club. And that was our first time of actually seeing how much it costs to renovate something of
Mhm.
such a big amount. Sprinklers cost $100,000, drywall, how to knock down walls, all of those things cost money. So being able to understand the value of money and how far certain things can kind of go, that was my first real opportunity of learning how to kind of maneuver around things, how to make things happen in a different way. And I got to do that at such a young age. And I think that sparked such a great interest in me that, hey, I want to be the person that's, building things. I want to be the person that's learning about it and how to do things to make people, happy or that to see the outcome of it all. So that was my first, I think, real opportunity of true entrepreneurship.
Let's talk about Playdates and the inspiration behind that. And tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about Playdates.
Yes. So Playdate started in 2018. I worked for the military for quite a while, and I'm so grateful and thankful for their child youth and school program that they had, a child youth services program. I had some of the greatest mentors and some of the best leaders and training that I could have ever received. I learned from them. And I think that was the biggest thing is once I became a mom and unfortunately, pivoted from CYS, I had to kind of decide what it is that I was going to do to continue doing the things that I like to do, but also how can I invest in myself? And I think that was the perfect way. We opened up an small childcare program for 18. It turned to 25. And then from 25, we are at a now 100 capacity center. The way it started really was mostly how can I do the things that I like to do with children? For example, making sure that they're exposed to all of the things that they need to be exposed to, like I was. Um, I think a lot of the times we are so limited in our thinking when it comes with children. I just wanted a space where it wasn't limitless. I wanted
Mhm.
us to think outside the box and use some of the things that I learned along the way. And start implementing that into our program. So as we grow, I see some of those things getting better and bigger.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We're hoping that we get a Georgia pre-K by next August. So those are some of the goals that we have coming up, and I think those are some of the things that keep me focused and striving for more when it comes to that.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple of things that I really liked. I wrote a note here about how going into business is a form of investing in yourself.
Correct.
And because you mentioned like doing the things that you wanted to do that were
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling for you, as well as serving the children, right? The
Mm-hmm.
child populace. And so it's like a reminder to me that it doesn't have to be either or, it can be both and. I wanted to ask you about if um childcare and or working with children, what had that been the goal or the vision for some time?
Mm-hmm. I believe so. It's so funny because a lot of the times when God puts something in your path, you see it, he dangles it in front of you. He finds ways to kind of like cultivate it for you. Um he gives you the strength to do those things, and
Mhm.
then for some reason, especially because for me it was so young when he started doing those things for me. um by the time I got into high school, towards the end of high school and going into college, I wanted to pivot completely different. God had allowed me to become a engulfed in the military lifestyle, and the idea of a teenage kid, being able to fly here and do briefings for this person, or go here and, talk with Army leadership about how school should be for kids in the military, going to quarters one. I mean, I had an opportunity to really live that. Exciting life, to be so vocal and to be outspoken and how things should be business wise.
Yeah.
And all of these things were just so, I wouldn't say rigid. I'll just say that I received a lot of just excellent training at such a young age
Mm.
that I think it shaped me into who I was. However, by the time I was done with high school, I wanted to just be like,
Right. I need to
like,
see something
let me
different. Yeah.
loose, I just want
We gotta
to be
switch this up.
free. Like, I can't, yes, because, all eyes are on you to a certain extent in that realm. Like, I couldn't mess up. Like, I couldn't, I was always a representative for this base, or this certain areas, or just the Army period. So I definitely couldn't do any of the things that some of my friends were doing. But I remember one day my mentor telling me that I was upset I couldn't get to a football game. And she was like, you're gonna say this now. Like, you're upset now. She said, but I promise you're going to thank me later. And she's right. Um, everything I learned from them, at that time, was those things that were part of me. So by the time I got to college, I switched up to physical therapy.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I wanted to say. I switched up to physical therapy, thought that that's what I wanted to do because I played basketball and softball, and I was, I did those things, but it was not it. I think my sophomore year, first semester, and organic chem, or one of those chemistry classes, just kicked my butt left and right.
Okay.
I had to make the decision then and there, like, hey, um, I stayed in contact. Even though I went away to college, I still went home on the weekends and worked for CYS. I was one of the youngest employees
Mm.
that they had. And, just thankful for that. Like I said, they always made room. And I
Yeah.
think it was just, hey, go back to what it is that see what you can do. I changed my major to back from chemistry. I think I was a chemistry biology major, probably like a dual major. I switched it to early childhood education, or child development and
Mhm.
family studies. I was nervous. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, if I don't work for the military. Government jobs were paying great money at the time for that
Hmm.
compared to civilian jobs. So I knew that I could make money to support myself. They had already invested all of this time and energy into me. And I think that's exactly what happened.
Mm.
I ended up as an intern for Department of Defense. And I think that's when I realized that, hey, you kept running away from it. And it was just, that's what I was supposed to do. I
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to do anything else. And I'm glad that it worked that way because at least I realized that it wasn't for me. It
Hmm.
just wasn't. I was able to move around the world with it. So it was,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was a great choice. Yeah, a great choice for me.
Well, you're saying CYS. What does that stand for?
Child and Youth Services.
Child and Youth
Mhm.
Services.
Yes, Child and Youth
For
Services.
the
Yes,
non-military folks out there.
the non-military. Yes, and then that's another thing. Two different worlds, But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great way to learn.
You definitely continue to serve like a military population.
Hmm.
And I can imagine like how being familiar with how things work on that side and on the civilian side, it kind of gives you like this second language and how you're able to communicate with them. So have you seen that kind of like pop up with how you talk to your clients, customers? I don't know how you like to
Oh,
talk about them.
definitely. Yes. It is an advantage when you come from that lifestyle because
Hmm.
a lot of them come here. First of all, a lot of the people come here and they don't know what to expect or they need help to, certain things. And I'm not sure if everyone is as helpful as we are.
Hmm.
But, I try to give as much information as I can to the parents because no one wants to be lost out here with their children. However, I also feel like, my reputation has helped, being that I have worked for CYS and they understand that I, tend to keep some of the same types of background, here at the center versus, what they may do at other locations. So the recommendations, I'm sure those are, we've been able to partner with them on certain things sometimes, and that's been great. If, with them allowing us to come on base and see certain things. So that's been great. So the biggest thing is their funding,
Yeah.
government funding for those soldiers is just a lot more than what we could ever see in the private sector. However, if I can help the civilians or help the soldiers or the moms who need all the help that they can get as an army wife or as
Hmm.
an army spouse, they definitely can come to us, and it's been helpful. I think we've received some of, and we've gotten quite a few army parents out there that have just been thankful for us, especially since we open so early in the morning at 5:45 so that they can make PT in the morning. And
Mm.
then we do certain things to try to just make sure that they're aware of the things that are available to them, such as childcare aware and caps or whatever services that allow them to be able to afford childcare. So yeah, we try to do as much as we can with them. We support the military programs that are out there as well for the kids, like EDIS and PSCD.
Have any of your services or offerings changed over the years as you've gotten to know your community more and who and things that they need more?
Um, I tried at one point, we need more space. We tried to open up or have an ABA clinic in the
Hmm.
center so that we could service children on the spectrum.
Okay.
My son Mitchell is 8 years old and he is on the spectrum. He was diagnosed at 18 months. And that alone was something that became like number one on my radar when we moved, when we were looking at extra space. just period, always allowing the ABA therapists to come into our daycare so that they can help whoever or whatever child that happens to be on the spectrum. Working with Bright from the Start or Babies Can't Wait. Whenever there were any children that were diagnosed with autism or any type of special needs, that they would need any type of behavior therapy, speech therapy, or occupational therapy within the center. And if I had the space to offer that, we allowed that. I think COVID changed a lot,
Yeah.
So when COVID started, we started looking at things a little bit differently. Um, but I think we haven't really changed we haven't really changed the core of the program.
Hmm.
I noticed that because things are more expensive, our date nights aren't as full as they used to be.
Yeah.
Because I think people just can't afford them. Paying for the kids as well as the date itself, and to pay for childcare and the date, things like that that can add up. So, it just depends. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It just depends. But I think have kept most of our services the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our winter drive, our back to school drive, winter edition 2026. Woo woo. We are doing that on January 3rd, and we're looking to provide coats and utensils or school supplies and
Hmm.
uniforms to the community in Hinesville or Liberty County. As I said before, we want to make sure that we get those supplies out to the community as well as show appreciation to the teachers by doing a relaxation station for the teachers while they're getting their massages and different things like that. They can, hear the music that's going. We'll have some teacher supplies provided for them as well. We have, goodness, a 3-point shootout, a mobile basketball unit actually called Seaport Jams. And they are going to be there pretty much set up so that we can have our 3-point shootout contest with the sheriffs, the chief of the fire department, the
Hmm.
chief of the police department, and the chief of the sheriff's department. So it's going to be really nice, a lot of fun, face painting, book bag giveaways. It's just going to be a time. So we're excited, and we're just glad that we had Miss Arin on board to help us and continue to promote. So yes, thank you.
I am too. Can you take me
Yeah.
back to like your mind when you did the first one? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah, God was so good. God had been just showing up and showing out like not, I was gonna say 1 year, and I want to say no, it wasn't even 1 year. It was like it was quite a few years. God was just showing up. He still is every day to this day, just
Hmm.
showing up and showing out. But this particular year, he had showed out so big. That building was a blessing to me. And one of my friends, one of my OGs, as I'll say, from CYS, um, Cami Khan, she said, Kamaria, God has been good to you. She was like, what are you going to do to
Mm.
give back to him? What are you going to do? And I said, I don't know yet. I don't know. And that just stuck with me. That stuck with me. It hit, I don't know why that hit with me so hard, and it did. And so later, it had to been a couple months later. I said, "Okay, this is what I'm going to do."
Hmm.
And I said, "I want to do this." And I, talked to my husband about it, and I talked to my friends, and we put it together. And it was such an amazing event because I didn't know how it was going to go. Honestly, I didn't. I was so scared. Like, I'm talking about doing this. Nobody may even show up. And then all of a sudden, there were so many people out. My sorority sisters. Oh my gosh. Another big thank you to them. Alpha Kappa Alpha, Cultivated Pearls Foundation of Southeast Georgia. They were so amazing. They stepped right on in with donating the uniforms. Once they did that, I think it was just a great opportunity to continue because
Yeah.
with the coats and the uniforms, I mean, brilliant. So
Hmm.
that just made it that much easier. It just seemed like everybody wanted to help after that. And then I had a friend, Tyla, she was already doing the young entrepreneurs thing. So, she had all the vendors of the kids. So we just invited them out as well. So, I mean, just a great opportunity, but on my mind, it was literally Cammy in the back of my mind saying,
Yeah.
what are you going to do for the community that has done so much for you? And that was my only thing that I could think of.
Hmm.
I can provide the place. I can help, you can use my electricity to cut the hair. You can use my place for the bathrooms. It just turned out to be such a beautiful day. And the next year it rained a little bit, but it still stopped by the time it was, there for us. And then this year, same thing. We're going to use Bradwell Park. This time it'll be a little bit bigger. We're going to use Bradwell Park and we're going to use Bryan Commons if
Hmm.
it rains. So to have a alternative location with covering is just amazing. So I'm happy about that.
I am coming back to what you said, though. What are you going to do for the community that has done so much for you?
Hmm. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy. I mean, but it just never left me when she said that.
Can
Hmm.
you think about like how long was it between the time she said that and the first drive? The first,
Hmm.
yeah.
Probably Probably less than 3 months, probably less than 2 to 3 months. Cause I did
Yeah.
it same thing. Like she probably said it to me around September-ish. It probably
Mhm.
happened yeah, and then it happened the same year. We started planning in November. Yeah,
Then,
that
yeah.
fast. Cause I bought the building in 22
Okay.
and our first one was in 23.
Yeah. And it's at the top of the year.
Just
Ooh.
like that. Just like that. God is so, listen, I could tell you some stories and you wouldn't even believe me. God is good. He is amazing. He has done some things and that's how no one can convince me anything different.
Would you say you take
Seriously.
a spirit-led approach to business?
I can say that I definitely put him as my I would say my number one
Yeah.
manager, because sometimes you can feel it. He'll
Hmm.
tell you, and then sometimes he'll let you learn a lesson,
Hmm.
when you try to not 50-50 it at least. Sometimes when you try to 100% you, usually it doesn't work out all the time. But
Ooh.
when you do,
I gotta
when
go.
you at least 50-50 it, you know, you have a good you have a good percentage rate. But my staff know this. They know that I'll say, hey, don't worry about it. God will handle it. He always does. He never lets us down. And I say that all the time,
Hmm.
you can only do what you can do.
When you're envisioning like play dates or this winter drive or some of your even other ideas that you have for Kamaria and how
Mhm.
you're going to impact the community like in the future. Um, can you share a little bit about what that looks like? Some things that you can't wait to see grow or flourish or anything like that.
Um, well, like I said, this Georgia Pre-K, I think is going to be
Yeah.
a great addition to our program. Um, I've always thought about expansion. However, I understand how hard that can be
Hmm.
with the workforce of today. So I am optimistic about expansion, however, just very cautious right now, especially in the state of the economy. I'm excited about the 40 homes that are being built across the street from my
Okay.
child care center. I'm looking forward to more partnerships with Playdates. Um, I'm looking forward to starting more programming for my parents and children
Hmm.
outside of what we're doing, but mainly just so that it's a more hands-on approach with the parents, kind of like on both ends. I think that gives parents who really need the help, because that is something that I do see that I'm coaching more parents now
Okay.
than ever before. So having to tell them how to feed correctly, when to incorporate or to, introduce solid foods to your
Hmm.
newborn, to your, infant children, things like that. So it's a process, but
Hmm.
definitely some of those things that I'm looking forward to. But I think that this next year is going to be a great year for us, especially because I see so much in store that's going to be a great help, not only for the children and the parents, but it'll be a great business decision as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
win-win. Win-win on both sides.
It's taking me back to what you said. I wrote it down here on my notes. Like everyone wanted to help, like with the first winter drive, putting it out there. You got the coats, you got the uniforms, and it seems like everyone wanted to help. And the reason that's sticking out to me, A, because that came up in a different conversation where she mentioned like you just kind of put yourself out there and then you're surprised by how many people want to help. Um, but B, some of the things that you just said, like you can have it, the dream of building community and how you build community. There are people who want to help with that. Sometimes it's the people you serve. Sometimes it's a win-win scenario with like another business. But the people are out there. The people are out there.
Yes. I see. I'm telling you, it's been
So
great. Yeah, people are
yeah.
calling and wanting to donate their time, different the Kia Club, the Beta Clubs, the different clubs are calling, asking for help if we need the help. So it's been amazing. I mean, you're right. This has been only a 4-week process, if that. And I mean, I told you that it was probably going to be like this, but that's just makes it even better. I just hope people come. That's it. I want people to come. I want people to show up.
Hmm.
I believe that together we're better. That's it. That same thing.
Yeah.
Sense of community. Together we're better. That's the only way we're gonna get better. We
Mm.
need each other. We can't hurt each other and then expect our community to support us, to be a supporting community when we're just hurting each other. We've got to uplift each other somehow, especially in today's climate. We got to have positive change, and some of these
Mm.
things take your mind off of just that little bit of concern or worry, hey, I really need this. I really could use help with this coat. Thank you. I didn't even know where I was going to get that money from to buy this coat or this paper or these pencils or these pens or this uniform.
Yeah.
I might only have two, but now I got three. Thank you. Might even get four. Who knows? And then also being able to provide the resources there, because the schools have a lending closet. Getting with community development and asking them to be a part of this is another thing. So again, it starts just allowing people to be connected in different ways so that we are getting this information out to the community, because a lot of the times people don't know about the stuff that's out there.
Mm.
And then, they're just in a world of trouble when they really need to, learn about their resources, or prayerfully, they're getting the right information when things like that are happening to them.
As someone who's like got her hands on a lot of different things,
Yes.
and they're all beautiful and wonderful for the community, but how are you taking care of yourself? What do you do as far as like maintaining that
Ooh.
internal balance? If you could give us some tips.
As I crack my neck. To be honest, I was not terrible at
Hmm.
taking care of myself. I wasn't terrible, but I definitely wasn't great at it. So
Hmm.
just recently, I've been doing more so of I at one point, that self-care was looking like getting a personal trainer.
Hmm.
That was some of my personal things that I was doing that made gave me time. Um I now do massages and things with Baker Girls, relaxation and retreat, beauty relaxation and retreat. They're amazing. I've been doing that for quite a while just to keep my, muscles and things like that together. When I'm feeling stressed out, I go there.
Yeah.
My hair care routine, getting my hair done. I use Brittany or Monroe Hair Studios for certain things. And then I use, oh goodness, the Chastity King. I forgot the name of their service, but she's a great trichologist out here. Um, I do hair and nails, just things that make me feel like, like like a lady, those
Yeah.
are my things. I think we all enjoy those things. Now I do enjoy spending time with my family, and friends and I love to travel. Those are the things that, I really have been trying to make sure I do lately, especially heavy on the travel, heavy
Heavy
on
on the travel.
heavy on the travel. Yes. You seen it. You clock it. You clock it. But yeah, God has been good to me despite
Mhm.
everything this year, man. I tell you, I can just breathe a sigh of relief and just be happy for all of the great things that God has given. I'm just glad that we're doing the back to school drive,
Yeah.
still despite it all, God is still good and he is still a believer. And that's pretty much how I look at it this year. So 25 is over.
Hmm.
Year of the snake is over. We're shedding that skin and we are looking to the beginning of this next year to bigger
Yeah.
and better things. And I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful. Things are gonna always, God is always gonna put us, in front of tests. Tests are gonna always be there. But it's just
Hmm.
about how you move forward with it. Things happen when you're down, you can be down. It's about how you get back up. And we'll continue to, work towards that. And I'm super proud of the daycare. I try to keep myself in a state so I don't feel like I always have to unwind and always have to be
Yeah.
at the getting a massage and things like that. And I'm very proud of them because they make sure that I'm not so stressed out. So I have, great staff. So they keep me grounded and help me, see things differently. Sometimes when you see things your way all the time,
Mm.
it gets hard. However, I'm just glad that I'm still in my right mind to be able to do the things that's happening right now and be thankful and grateful for them and for everybody that's around because again, I know without them there, would be no me at this point. So, you
Mm.
know, and gonna read this book, 10x is better than 2x. So I
Yeah.
can learn how to start divvying it out.
Yes.
So yes, that's my new book that I plan to read as well. Yes.
Well, I'm really excited. I think having something community oriented for at the top of the year is such a great way to start off the year.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's good energy.
It is.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
gonna be beautiful. I'm really excited. I'm thankful for you and all of, the people that have done all of the things that they have. It's gonna be a beautiful event.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
All
Kamaria, for
right. No
coming on
worries.
Chit Chatting with me. This is Kamaria Boston. I'll have all of your information shared. And that wraps another episode of Interviews with Arin.